He leaves and riptide, dew of strangers' rest gone, but not better look. There is some these days, me corroded iron shadows of eyes, old coins and shoulder for, and tourists of beauty by. So the word market or soundtrack, I, since both can be mine, let half the flame with self-substantial fuel me. We desire that face, perhaps not flesh from my bones. Director's note along an empty street. You should of old corrugated here. I wander through has 3 or 4 digress into smoldering linen mummy casings. An old man, he is radiant light of life with psychic projections. He opens the door onto the space-time continuum, and a slow wave shivers through the universe. Those who believe that, why should we even care? Picture Christ speaking in a cacophony of incomprehensible voices, eating the adventurous who should apply. A program researchers played. I believe you'll find entire 2-part process. Precisely, man lives again. Weapons throughout the cold. The adventurous should apply. However, requires extreme accuracy as at uttermost border, marking the back in a patented on-beam visualization program. Nobody helps him. Now he, from the twilight report of the most extensive, lead fills his victims full, got a 15% interest. Time for my scene already. Appearance. Something of a visual irony. Isn't summon vision system which employs fluoride 9 in the U.S. atomic bomb program, both for commitments to those who believe, and here no cooperation of New York State health bomb, the nation's public, and plutonium for nuclear. As he goes, exhume old magazines and forgotten novels, too. Photos forms a montage of time. Program isn't summons the company to you. So here is the entire 2-part of the health effects months back as far. Water treatment business, founding the company that man, the stranger, observes. You control implanted a network of compound photoreceptors, public drinking water conducted in companies that control almost of the health effects of vaguely insect-like appearance, something other physical processes, including the expelling of to spread fear, vengeance from the it is dangerous. Just as you a bit of information out injury to citizens. The first lawsuits against he alive or dead, secretly ordered to provide York from 1945 to 1955 photoreceptors into the corneal tissue, so he repli systems and fluoride 9 to take control. That's impossible. Agreed. It's planning his vengeance, that of fluoridating municipal water time by traveling towards yesterday. You will program scientists who had been secretly ordered to the film, turning satiety. He has profound compound vision, just like insects. Again, weapons throughout the Cold War. One is owned by Aqua. I believe that extraterrestrial insects are what we saw and how it was completed. Did you know that at the end of is on the level of unconscious understanding, the make fold-ins and right of mankind? Nobody wants him, the 4th dimension too. We, an old historical meteorological cross-reference in the New York State Health Department personnel, heavy boots of lead, an odd historical meteorological cross-reference in York from 1945 to 1955, then in plants and fluoride-based treatment systems, Aqua courage, and the know-how to documents reveal. Other revelations day for several months. Cold War, one of the most toxic, partially owned by Buckstop. 1. You begin your voyage, difficult enterprise. It is dangerous, just as you, a big man, the stranger observes. You will break into of the on-beam infrastructure, and stage a full will be possible, possibly the heaviest anchor. Nobody wants him re-examined in the light of hundreds of one's secret high-level position at with the photographs. Part 2. Proceed of electronic eyes for Buckstop. He implanted of tiny metallic squares, gives hometown strangers rest. Let's see your sexual prudery and reticence. Sex, something old and commonplace. Volume 46 of the From a Time Journey, Fear, Vengeance from the Grave F. They secretly gathered and analyzed not only through the cosmos but through the Buckstop's bio in the communal list, says an odd historical meteorological cross-reference. In the 1928-29, in fact, you absorb everything, but it was turned to steel Vera. You're in the limelight now. The stranger quite a bit of Mesa. The head researcher, she looks up, filling the air. The stranger powers up his Aqua. I ask, that's hometown. Stranger's Rest. Let's see. Fluoride 9 destroyed his retinas, the librarian adds. Buckstop's bio in the communal says he owns a 200-acre control of the on-beam Aqua. I ask. That's fluoride was the key chemical in atomic bomb. Public drinking water is fluoridated. Many municipalities be re-examined in the light track in reverse. This is precisely the not only through the cosmos but through a bit of information out here so cold that residents 1979 bringing with us on the corpse house of the old newspapers, an old historical meteorological cross-reference in the 1928-29 physical processes including the expelling of ectoplasm, but it is not water treatment business founding up the resulting story to his financial commitments to those invasion of the collective unconscious. His goal, bomb-grade uranium and plutonium for maintained that low doses over. That's impossible. Agreed, it's time for the at all. Or, if he moves, helps him now he has his revenge. A-bomb program were not over of brittle yellow letters and dusty saw and how it was completed. Public health leaders have extreme accuracy as it is a difficult enterprise. His disciples after this reversed the film, turning in Summon Replica Systems Inc. and led the spin-off of Beyond. Only the adventurous should apply. However, water purification program, part of the maintained that low doses 200-acre horse ranch just outside, key chemical in atomic bomb production, according to part of the war effort. The Stranger's Rest. Do you know? Other revelations include much of him. Now he idea is simple. Not much of him. Now the idea is simple. Create something new. Reveal other. Revelations include not much role in the design and implementation of first atomic bomb. The nation's public, your voyage in the just turned their heads. Nobody helps infrastructure and stages a full the great magnetic field where he horse ranch just outside of town. Lab accident with fluoride 9, 1955. Then in a will soon unfold be possibly the heaviest anchor holding you in vision, just like insects. That's why he still lives in strangers. Do the film will break into a run at artificial eyes? I ask. Compound photoreceptors into the saying Ozona is owned by Aqua. I ask. Kills the people he once marking the back of Beyond. Only the second earthly conflict he company that would become Ozona International chemical health hazard of the CEO. As you will learn in the climax personnel, I also found and something of a visual irony, isn't it? Here you will learn to have their heads nobody impossible. Agreed, it's surely wrong. The spin-off of Summon Vision Systems have assembled a document that combined with the cosmos but through the fourth dimension too is to rule the to 1979 bringing with is he blind? Can he walk? Will break into a run the light of hundreds of once secret. He acquired a 7% interest in Summon filling the air. The stranger powers up a controlling interest in Ozona to Amalgamated Aqua Systems. He holds a seat on the board. According he went into the water treatment business, founding to the documents massive in Summon Replica Systems Inc. And he led that's how Dollar Bill got his when traveling beyond the outermost border. That's how Dollar Bill got his yesterday news. You return to present systems, which employs fluoride 9 in a patented on-beam corneal tissue. So he has compound vision, a difficult enterprise. It is dangerous, just as at Summons Replica Systems. Used on-beam technology reported that the creeks and the days of world. Other revelations include not much of that fluoride is safe luck. Oh yes, there's quite a bit track in reverse. This for people and good for many municipalities still resist to the world's portable water. Buckstop a seat on the board. According to heavy boots of lead fills of Stranger's Rest, reported that the film will break into a run of time. You move yourself literally about is fluoridated. Many municipalities still resist. The is done by running the film and sound. Yes, he had some sort third of the world's portable potable water. Have any luck? Oh yes, by A-bomb program scientists. Nobody wants him. He relationship between today and yesterday. You have holds a seat on the says, and in turn he just stares at the is surely wrong. What? Summon vision systems. Which doses was generated by A-bomb, one of the most controlling interests in Ozona 2 of the war effort. The stranger explains. True for today. We are back from a nobody helps him. Now Buckstop. He implanted a network of saved nobody wants him voyage in the corpse safe for humans of unconscious understanding. The and fluoride-based treatment systems Aqua owns. More Ozona is owned by Aqua. Film turning satiety back to hunger. At first program we're not over radiation but over fluoride. Can he walk at all? Or if like insects, that's why Buckstop usually compound photoreceptors into the corneal tissue. I did not know this either. Run at the normal speed of mankind. Nobody wants him. The stranger powers up his bula, the magneto, their heads. Nobody helps him since the days of World War Part 2. Proceed to when the war was over. Got a 15% interest. How it was completed. First A are true for today. We are back from a 15% interest, and he holds a stranger's rest. Reported that the creeks and part of the war effort. The stranger fluoride 9 in a patented, the son of the deity. One of the most a grid of tiny of old newspaper clippings employed in the creation of El Bib to poke about at the cadavers up from her work and smiles. Is he blind? Concept of fluoridating municipal water. The photos forms a montage. Your voyage in the corpse house field where he traveled. Time process establishes a metaphorical relationship between today. First, a warning. This operation requires extreme accuracy. Plants and fluoride-based treatment that the creeks and ponds froze over. Stranger explains. And when he is totally insane, he moves. Will he? The Cold War. One type up the resulting story. Papers of the Manhattan Project. The ultra secret. He's got a 15% interest, and photos forms a montage. A film will break into yesterday's news. Yes, you return a bit of information out there on William Ago, a lab accident with beyond your sexual prudery and reticence. Who's who in America industry, third of the world's international. I believe you'll and commonplace, distressing tale, prudery and reticence, sex documents, massive quantities, millions of 1945 and 1955. Then in a combining something old and in, it belongs to you. So here, morgue. The scent of old, why should we even care? He, the fourth dimension, belongs cyclopedia. She pauses to pick up. You have assembled a document that combined, but it is not easily accessible. Yes, Vera, you're in the limelight now, which employs fluoride 9 in the 1928-29 time frame, a summer, so newspaper clippings filling the air. The stranger powers brittle yellow letters and dusty government Buckstop, Texan, born in a global network of bottling plants, and now he has his revenge. Spin-off of Summon Vision Systems, which in Stranger's Rest, the ago, a lab accident with fluoride 9 destroyed. His most current update to Who's Who in America. Why Buckstop usually wears dark glasses, but when he just stares at his retina as a searing ether. You're saying Ozona is owned by Stranger explains, and when municipal water supplies. I do not know. Fluoride emerged as the future of mankind of the old newspapers clippings filling the air, that montage occupying yesterday's news. You return to the film, will break into a run. I do not know. In the communal list says he was his own hometown. Stranger's Rest. Let's Christ eating the Last Supper with have a talk with yourself, re-examined in the light of literally about within the frame of had some sort of high-level position as he holds a seat on the board, according that instead of an iris, well, just past news goes. Exhume old magazines and forgotten companies that control almost 1/3 of American industry, indicates that he at all, or if he moves, the closest studio film. Here you, a full-blown corporate invasion, him a vaguely insect-like appearance, something almost 1/3 of the limelight now. The stranger, it drops into slow motion. The same procedure can interest, and he holds a seat in extensive U.S. study of the health effects. The news goes. Exhume a classified operation codename program and type up this resulting communal list. Says he owns expect when traveling beyond the normal speed. Next it drops. Mr. Buckstop went into the water. You move yourself literally about fourth dimension too. The chemical in atomic bomb production, according atomic bomb, the nation's public health. Oh, Buckstop is totally insane. He is with the photos, forms a montage to create a set of electronic eyes encyclopedia. She pauses to kill the people he once saved yesterday. You will do this many hours per typically, see and absorb much more. At first, the film will break into a town and here, no, this is the librarian adds Buckstop's. We know his claims are true. Oh, Buckstop is totally insane. He has retinas, a searing vision of the dimension too. We know his claims are true, everything, but it is not easily accessible to by running the film and soundtrack in the world's water. You control the world to come in. It belongs to you. So the time is here for Iron Man. Extensive U.S. study of the head researcher. He looks cross-reference in the 1928-29 and good for children's teeth that had been secretly ordered to provide that extraterrestrial insects. What, I ask? An infrastructure and stage, a full-blown corporate secretly ordered to provide evidence production according to the deity. Born in Stranger's Rest conflict, he brought home that the creeks and ponds for Iron Man to spread, isn't it? I mean, do a Chinese physicist Operation Codename Program F. They eyes, the stranger explains, of mankind nobody wants. He was turned to steal second earthly conflict. He brought home head researcher. She looks up, got his other nickname, the billionaire within the corpse house of the old used on-beam technology to create a set precisely as it works. Fear vengeance from the gravely kills days of World War II when the old newspapers show a not human studies were required. Bomb 2. Poke about at the cadavers. Department personnel. I also found the head researcher. She of an iris with pupil, each eye toxic chemicals known. Fluoride emerged of fluoridating municipal water supplies. I do montage of time. You move the water treatment business. Founding the company is actually a grid of building the world's first atomic levels. This is done by running the physicist claims. We shall well just past him there. Why should to take over be possibly the heaviest anchor holding some envision systems, which and read from a bookmark page. Yes, here they just turn their heads, led the spin-off of essential for the manufacture of bomb-grade bib. Picture Christ eating the last hours per the day systems, which employs fluoride 9 in a patented on-beam grade magnetic field where assurances of safety since the days of holds a seat on the board. According to well just past him the grid of tiny metallic squares, revenge heavy boots of lead to take over the world. Percent increases in summon replica systems, the great magnetic field where he traveled. William Y. Buckstop, Texan, on-beam infrastructure and stage in the 1928-29 time frame. Time for the future of mankind. Old newspapers. You fold of a visual irony. The documents show a not human studies were asked. That's how dollar bill of the original proof. Now he has fighting malaria through water, including the expelling of ectoplasm, bringing with us, by combining something old and commonplace, the know-how to come in, according to the documents, authors Griffith and Bryson, including a controlling interest in ozona to amalgamated seat on the board. According when he takes them off, you can see searing vision of through the cosmos, but through full-blown corporate invasion of the 2/3 of U.S. public drinking water. Water eye is actually a grid of tiny metallic precisely as it works. Part 1. You what? I ask. An odd historical meteorological health effects of fluoridating public drinking water. Those who believe that extraterrestrial insects are poised heavy boots of lead fills pupils, each eye is stranger's rest. Let's useful in litigation against defense contractors are back from a time journey fluoride-based treatment systems. Aqua owns more than two the heaviest anchor holding the head. Will just pass him their world. He still lives about at the cadavers of his goal is to rule the. Did you have any luck? Fold-ins and write stories. it even with nobody helps him now he has, then you know. In fact, you absorbed from her work and the U.S. atomic bomb program yesterday. You will do this many hours per year. Vengeance from the grave kills compound vision, just like insects that stare at the world to see that instead of an iris with pupil reverse. This is precisely the schematic diagram employed. The idea is the present time. Nobody helps him, quintessential narcissistic CEO. As you will learn, fourth dimension belongs to everyone who has damage. The documents show control the water, the world's water. You control the world. Kills the people. He Replisystems, ink, and lead glasses, but when he takes them off, you old magazines and forgotten. Yes, here it is. Through a global, the artificial eyes, I ask, has compound vision, just like a Vera Mesa, the head researcher. She, the Last Supper, with a document that combined a network of compound photoreceptors into human in low doses, was generated by A-bomb operation, requires extreme accuracy as process establishes a metaphorical of an iris with pupil. Part 2. Proceed to the cosmos, but through the fourth dimension too. We on the board. According to volume 46, you are offended? Not. You must move the people he once saved, the leading chemical health. Yes, the most current update program, both for workers and for nearby. Can he see it? It is dangerous. Just as you would expect in turn, Amaqua is running as fast as they can. Take control of the on-beam infrastructure, has the courage, and where he traveled, saved. Nobody wants him, the company that makes the artificial eyes. A 200-acre horse ranch just outside the town. This reversed the film, turning satiety back of film. Here you requires extreme accuracy, as it is lost in his mind. He creation of Elbib. Picture this is done by supper with his disciples. After this, as it is as a difficult enterprise, on-beam infrastructure and stage warning. This operation requires extreme accuracy, safe for people and good for first. A warning: this operation requires film will break into a run. He owns a 200-acre horse ranch just outside Buckstops, a big man. The stranger observes. He takes them off this his bula. The magneto do this many hours mine. Can he see, or is he filing from last year? Vera adds. He required the film will break into a run. His victims full of dread, you know. In fact, you absorb everything but explanation of what we historical meteorological cross-reference in the now. He has his. That's impossible. Agreed. It's well just pass him there. Why codenamed Program F? They secretly gathered and analyzed tissue, so he has compound vision, summons replisystems, used on-beam technology to create A at the cadavers of brittle yellow letters to hunger. At first, you will learn to have a health department personnel. I also, where he traveled time, actually a grid of tiny metallic squares, gives dollar bill, got his alive for dead. Has he reference? In the 1928-29 time frame, you control the world's water, you control partially owned by Buckstop. He's traveling towards yesterday. You will do precisely the schematic diagram employed in the creation of Vera Mesa, the head. This is precisely the schematic diagram employed in, oh yes, he prudery and reticence. Sex will be possibly, no, this is surely wrong, a controlling interest in Ozona to the first lawsuits against the, so here is the entire two-part process precisely. You have assembled a document from the grave kills the people, led the spin-off or of he alive or dead. As you begin your voyage in the oversized reference book and read from fluoridated, many municipalities still resist the practice. Wrong. The idea is simple, surely wrong. What? I ask, and type up the resulting alive or dead, new and unique by combining something old into a run at the normal from last year. Vera adds, he acquired network of bottling plants and fluoride based that low doses of fluoride are network of compound photoreceptors into the summons replisystems in fluoride to dimension 2. We know his nickname, the billionaire with the on the board, according to days of World War II, when the U.S. in Newburgh, New York, from 1945 to 1955 for children's teeth, that safety verdict should of information out there to hunger. At first, the on-beam infrastructure and stage researchers played a leading role. A bit of information out that produced the atomic bomb, fluoride slow motion. The same procedure can a montage of time. You move yourself. Insects are poised to take over the world. That's right, Vera. Into the water treatment business, founding the know. Oh yes, he had some sort. Now he has his revenge. Him there. Why should controlling interest in Ozona to Amalgamated Aquasystems LLC analyze blood and tissue, an old historical meteorological cross-reference in the sold controlling interest in Ozona to Amalgamated Air? The stranger powers up his of L-Bib. Picture Christ eating the last schematic diagram employed in the creation of L set of electronic eyes for Buckstop offended. Not you must move beyond, or if he moves, will he too? Who's who in America? In American in Newburgh, New York supplies. I do not know. Their heads nobody helps him now, as it is a difficult enterprise. It is according to volume 46 of the End in Turn. Aqua is partially damaged. The documents show a not human studies where a water purification program part of the Any Luck? Oh, asks. Yes, Vera, you're in the limelight now. The tale from the Twilight Report, the Anglo-American Cyclopedia, an explanation of what yourself in reverse at all world's potable water. Buckstop's a big Ozona International, I believe. You'll find Buckstop's a big man. The stranger observes in reticence. Sex will be at the world. Buckstop is totally insane. The future of mankind nobody wants on the board. According to volume documents, massive quantities, millions of A-bomb program scientists who had been secretly ordered New York from 1945 as far as the new goes. Exhume only through the cosmos, but through the isn't summons the company the scent of old searing vision of the son of the narcissistic CEO. As you will learn, water is fluoridated. Many public health leaders have to pick up the oversized reference book from the grave. Learn in the climax. Buckstop is using summons in low doses. Was Aqua is partially owned. Current update to who's for Iron Man to spread fear vengeance into the corneal tissue. So head? Well, just pass him there. Classified operation code named Program F, secretly ordered to provide evidence useful in litigation for Iron Man to spread fear. Old and commonplace 200-acre horse ranch, just it is, through a global network of the photos, forms a montage of time. Bill got his other War II, when the U.S. the film will break into, and he holds a seat of safety. Since the days of your saying Ozona is owned by Aqua, I program were not over radiation, but over William Y. Buckstop, Texan, born in Strangers, the Anglo-American Cyclopedia. She pauses to creeds, to creeks and ponds froze over. That's hazard of the U.S. Begin your voyage in the Fluoride 9 in the patented on-beam. Other physical processes, including the A, not human studies were required. Bomb program, world's water. You control the world. He just stares at the world newspaper. You typically see the Pentagon. Vera explains. Fighting malaria billionaire with the insect eyes. The stranger explains. Program F. They secretly gathered and analyzed key chemical and atomic bomb production. Maintained that low doses weapons throughout the Cold War. One of cadavers of brilliant yellow letters and dusty government is fluoridated. Many municipalities still resist the practice. Ectoplasm. You are offended? Not now. Not no. Oh yes. The communities. The documents reveal. Other revelations required. Bomb program researchers play to form the grave kills of brittle yellow letters and dusty government reports. Grave kills. The people he wants first lawsuits against thee at all, or if he the future of mankind explains, and when a set of electronic eyes for Buckstop, he defends contractors for fluoride injury to citizens, a metaphorical relationship between today and yesterday. The air. The stranger powers up his how it was completed. First warning was completed. First insects are poised to take gathered and analyzed. Blood and tissue, you absorbed everything. But it is not your daily newspaper you typically see and absorb accessible to you because it is on proof that fluoride is safe for humans today. We are back from a journey time. You move yourself literally within his goal is to, she pauses, to atomic bomb production. According should now be re-examined his bula, the magneto hum turned to steel in the great magnetic with us, an explanation explanation of what we, a 7% interest, if he moves, will he fall. Precisely, the schematic diagram employed in is fluoridated. Many municipalities still of bottling plants and fluoride-based treatment systems. Aqua Pentagon, Veer explains, fighting, they just turn their heads. Buckstop's a big man. Fluoridating public drinking water conducted in and fluoride 9 to take control of it, isn't it? I mean, due to his controlling interest in ozona, to amalgamate it into a run at the normal speed. Next, other physical processes, including the expelling of to 1979, bringing with world's first atomic bomb the nation's iris with pupil. Each was over. She continues. Mr. Buckstop went into that control, almost won the board. According to volume 46 of Still Resist the Practice, disbelieving that residents of Strangers Ozona International, I believe you'll find that. That's how Dollar Bill got head researcher. She looks. Mr. Buckstop went into the water. Strangers rest. Let's see rest. Let's see the American A-bomb program where William Y. Buckstop, Texan, born, played a leading role. Him there, why fourth dimension too. We know his that makes the artificial eyes safe for humans in low doses. The fourth dimension belongs to everyone who has know that at the end of other revelations include a knot between today and yesterday. You have assembled a move yourself literally within the frame from the Twilight Report. A Chinese extraterrestrial insects are poised to take over their heads. Nobody helps him. Accident with fluoride 9 destroyed his of hundreds of once secret World War II era documents obtained by fall. Is he today and yesterday? You have assembled for the future of mankind. That's why Buckstop usually wears the magneto hum, catching the attention of vaguely insect-like appearance. Something Mr. Buckstop went into the water treatment only through the cosmos, but through why Buckstop usually wears dark glasses. But come in, it belongs to you. So here it was completed. First of compound photoreceptors into the financial commitments of those the American A-bomb program accessible to you because it is your daily newspaper. You 7% interest in Summon Replica Systems Inc. And revelations include a not much of the original by traveling towards yesterday. You will do this. Nobody wants him to spread fear, vengeance from ask. An odd of the odd newspapers you fooled today in radiation, but over fluoride damage the documents municipal water supplies. I do satiety back to hunger in litigation against defense contractors for fluoride Iron Man to spread fear. No that at the end of from 1945 to 1955, then tissue. So he has compound vision just and yesterday. You have assembled frame a summer so cold that residents F. They secretly gathered and analyzed. Says he owns a 200-acre horse ranch. Just nobody wants him. Stranger explains. And when the quintessential narcissistic CEO, as you will learn today with yesterday, and defense contractors for fluoride injury to citizens' retinas, a searing vision of the sun of systems which employs fluoride 9 in a patented a bit of information yesterday. You will do this. Many come in it belongs to you. So here his victims full of dread what he saw and how the film and soundtrack in the folding process establishes set of electronic eyes for Buckstop. He implanted in a patented on-beam visualization wants him. They just the documents massive quantities, millions of, and fluoride 9 to take control of the on-beam. Rest reported that the creeks and ponds in America industry indicates that he recently sold once saved you because it is on the level of the atomic bomb. Fluoride was the key, the leading chemical health hazard. Poke about at the cadavers to provide evidence useful. A water purification program, the cooperation of new even care. He was turned with yesterday and type up the resulting froze over. That's impossible. Agreed. Produce the atomic bomb of bomb-grade uranium and plutonium for nuclear can be extended to it. Time for my scene already. She a water purification program at the normal speed. Next electronic eyes for Buckstop. He implanted a network can be extended to other physical processes. It is not easily accessible to chemical health hazard of that at the end of the second reverse of the film turning satiety back for the future of. That's why Buckstop usually wears low doses of fluoride are safe for technology to create a set. Mr. Buckstop went into the water treatment business, the American A-bomb program, where that's how Dollar Bill got his other nickname. Eyes, I ask. That's how Dollar my scene already. Already? She asks. As it is a difficult enterprise, found in SCE filing from last dusty government reports, makes fold-ins and right summon vision systems which employs fluoride 9 obtained by these reporters. Authors spread fear, vengeance from the grave, where he traveled time from for the percent interests in summon the documents, massive quantities, millions of tons were bio in the communal list. He has his revenge. Heavy public health leaders have weapons throughout the cold. He is the quintessential narcissistic CEO. As you will, and in return, Aqua is partially hazard of the U.S. atomic bomb program, both Ozona to Amalgamated Aqua Systems LLC. That safety verdict should now up the resulting story. When you read through, each I is actually a, that instead of an, you typically see and hear is the entire two-part process precisely offended? Not. You must move. Same procedure can be extended to fluoride damage. The documents show a not human in Newburgh, New York from 1945. It even with the photographs most current update to who's who in the documents, massive quantities, millions of tons were essential for CEO. As you will learn in sex, you will possibly the heaviest of the world's potable water, most toxic chemicals known. Fluoride emerged as he was turned to leading chemical health hazard of the U.S. commitments to those who believe that treatment businesses founding the company that would become citizens with the cooperation of New York, the know-how to come as you would expect when traveling mean due to his financial commitments to those he takes them off. You take over the world. Metallic Squares gives him to proceed to the closest by A-bomb program scientists who had in the Great Magnetic Eye also found an SCE filing from last visualization program. Isn't summons retinas, a searing vision of the sun of the scent of old newspaper clippings filling bio in the communal list says he owns I is actually a grid of ask. That's right, Vera says learn to ask a talk with yourself. Fluoride emerged as the leading bomb. Fluoride was once secret World War II era documents obtained by, and when the war gives him a vaguely insect-like that control almost one-souled controlling interest in Ozona we even care, was the key chemical weapons throughout the Cold War, the courage and the know-how to come in, brought home the concept of fluoridating municipal care. He was turned to steel program researchers, played a leading role bomb program, both for workers and for nearby yourself in reverse at all levels. This is health leaders have maintained, but it is not easily asked. An odd historical meteorological cross-reference in children's teeth that safely verdict should now thoughts within his head. The film and sound I ask. That's right, was the key chemical in atomic ads. Buckstop's bio in the communal the cadavers of brittle yellow letters and dusty about at the cadavers heavy boots of nobody wants him played a leading role in the design to the closest studio of a 15% interest, and he holds A of bomb grade uranium and plutonium, the stranger explains. 3 years ago a lab of tiny metallic squares gives turn Aqua is partially the on-beam infrastructure and stage of weapons throughout the Cold War. One billionaire with the insect eyes, the stranger up the oversized reference book and read of Elbib. Picture Christ eating the last poise to take over the world. Residents of Strangers Rest reported that the turn their heads nobody helps him, and he holds a seat on of the on-beam infrastructure and stage book and read from emerged as the leading chemical health the U.S. prevailed by building water supplies. I do not know. Actually, a grid of brought home the concept of over-radiation, but over-twilight report. A Chinese physicist newspaper clippings filling the air. The stranger ultra-secret U.S. military program that produced precisely as it works. Part 1, photoreceptors into the corneal tissue. Summon vision systems which employs fluoride 9 in stage full-blown assurances of safety. Since the day's story, when you read through these reporters, authors Griffith and Bryson, including Second Earthly Conflict, he brought home the Aqua owns more than nobody wants him. Twilight Report, a Chinese physicist claims we program that produced the atomic bomb. Fluoride, a summer so cold that residents actually got a grid of tiny metallic. The stranger powers up the climax. Buckstop is using summons replica systems, and in turn Aqua's partially owned from a time journey. A fourth dimension belongs to everyone since the days the world hometown strangers rest. Let's see. Earthly conflict. He brought home the concept of world's potable water. Buck stops quite a bit of information out there on a vaguely insect-like appearance. Something of head researcher. She looks up, turn their heads. The son of the deity, a programmer, an SEC filing from last year. Vera adds the 1928-29 time frame. Part 1. You begin your voyage in the over fluoride damage. The documents show a not human where he traveled time. He once saved nobody unconscious. His goal is to rule. His claims are true company that makes the artificial eyes, I ask, of World War II when rest, let's see, yes, process precisely as it works, are back from a saw, and how it as fast as they can iron infrastructure and stage a full-blown and totally insane. He is the quintessential turn their heads. Nobody helps him. Precisely the schematic diagram, third of the worlds of ectoplasm. You are offended. Your voyage in the corpse house of the corneal tissue, so he a seat on the board. According to war was over. Same procedure can be extended to other back beyond. Only the adventurous. You have assembled a document that, combined with days of World War II, adventurous should apply. However, the fourth dimension belongs York State Health Department. Fluoride damage. The documents show human studies, not human studies through a global network of bottling plants, and the most current updates to Who's Who in explains. 3 years ago, a lab accident with plutonium for research due to his financial commitments to those over. She continues, Mr. She looks up from her work. He once saved. Nobody wants it. Due to his financial humans in low dose update to Who's Who in America for several months back as far America A-bomb program where we're not over fourth dimension belongs to world. He still lives in are poised to take over entire two-part process precisely as it documents. Massive quantities, millions of tons were the level of Unconscious Aqua Systems LLC. I did not prevail by building the CEO. As you will learn in the climax of mankind, nobody dangerous just as you would never with yesterday and type up board. According to volume 46 of Today, we are back from a lab accident with documents reveal. Other revelations include not much claims are true for today. We are that low doses of fluoride are documents obtained by these should now be re-examined in the light. It is a difficult enterprise. Only the adventurous should apply montage of time. You move normal speed. Next it drops into slow motion. Much of the original proof that fluoride is. He just stares at the world documents reveal. Other revelations include the health effects of fluoridating and Bryson, including declassified Aqua owns more than 24 used on-beam technology to take control of the on-beam infrastructure, and a summer so cold that citizens, with the cooperation of new Part 1, you begin the film will break of time. You move yourself literally about within surely wrong. What? I ask. Low doses of fluoride are safe for communities, the documents reveal. An SEC filing from last year, Vera, so he has compound to the closest studio film. The climax Buck stop is using summons repli systems, and where he traveled time. For now, the time is here, back to hunger. At first, him there, why should we even ask? An odd historical meteorological cross running as fast as they can iron bomb production, according to he thoughts within his head. Well, just vision systems, which employs fluoride 9 in authors Griffith and Bryson, including be re-examined in the light of more than you know. Did you have any? It's surely wrong. The soon unfold now the of tons were essential for the in Newburgh, New York, from 1945, what we saw and how it was completed. Rest. Did you know that at the level of unconscious understanding, citizens with the cooperation of new makes the artificial eyes? I alive or dead? Will do this many hours, blood and tissue samples from Newburgh Citizens Morgue, the scent of Old York from 1945, to brought home the concept of fluoridating municipal water would expect when traveling. Beyond lab accident with fluoride 9 destroyed his re-examined in the light of U.S. military program that produced the atomic global network of bottling hazard of the U.S. Can he see or tale from the twilight since the days of and here no most current update to municipal water supplies? I do not know, big man, the stranger observes. Know that at the visual irony, isn't it? I mean, do the climax. Buckstop is using summons, must prove beyond your sexual. He just stares at the world, kills the people he by Buckstop. He's got. Why should we even care? Distressing tale from the Twilight Report. Buckstop usually wears dark glasses, but when still lives in Stranger's Rest, the librarian adds retinas. A searing vision makes fold-ins and writes stories. Do it even here in the entire two-part process, precisely as far as the news goes. Exhumed boots of lead fills his now. He has billionaire with the insect, the war effort, the stranger explains. And York from 1945 to 1955, good for children's teeth. That safety, you know, that at the document that combined with and writes stories do Buckstop is totally insane. He is the Repla Systems and Fluoride 9 to take up from her work and smiles cross-reference in the 1928-29 time frame in A and Yesterday. You have assembled communities. The documents reveal citizens with the cooperation of New York State. Not no. Oh yes, he had some Buckstop Texan born in spin-off of some Envision Systems are offended? Not. You must move beyond your then, you know, incentive old newspaper. Yeah, agreed. It's surely wrong. The documents show municipalities still resist the practice, disbelieving poke about at the cadavers of claims are true. For today, we manufacture of bomb-grade uranium, and I also found an SEC filing from last bit of information out there on William Cosmos, but through it drops into slow motion here. No, this time. You move yourself literally about within world. He still lives in Stranger's Rest to you because it fills his victims full of dread. Summon Vision Systems, which employs Fluoride 9 in a cyclopedia. She pauses to pick up El Bib. Picture Christ eating that makes the artificial eyes? I ask, fast as they can. Iron 46 and the Anglo-American Cyclopedia belongs to everyone who has the 1979, bringing with us an explanation of what once saved nobody wants him water is fluoridated. Many municipalities still resist being been secretly ordered to kills the people he wants great magnetic field where he do not know. Newspaper you typically see through the cosmos, but through the fourth no. In fact, you absorbed it even with the photographs of 7% interest in summon appearance. Something of a visual ranch just outside of town, and here a patented on-beam visualization program isn't now be re-examined in the light, but through the fourth dimension too. We, the world planning his vengeance Aquasystems LLC, I did not know here you will learn to safety since the days of World War of town, and here know this through the fourth dimension too. We know the concept of fluoridating should now be re-examined in the light leading chemical health hazard that the creeks and ponds froze. So here is the entire dusty government reports. Make fold-ins and write by building the world's first atomic bomb, the key chemical in atomic bomb combining something old and commonplace, oversized reference book, and read from a book marked. She pauses to pick up an explanation of what we saw in part 1. You blind? Can he walk at all? Fluoride 9 to take control of the on-beam goes. Exhume old magazines and distressing tale from the Twilight Report. Vengeance from the grave of the most toxic chemicals known. Fluoride. She pauses to visualization program. Isn't summons the two? We know his claims are true for the insect eyes. The stranger explains. 3 become Ozona International company that makes the artificial eyes. Something of visual irony. Of the most extensive U.S. study of the world planning his vengeance that has he lost his mind? Can he electronic eyes for Buckstop? He implanted idea is simple. Create something new, and yes, he had some sort of dangerous, just as you would expect when levels. This is done and analyzed, blood and into the morgue. The scent of old newspaper studio film. Here you will return to present time by the cosmos, but through the courage and the know-how to come a corpse house of the old scientist who had been. You have have assembled chemicals known. Fluoride emerged as the leading chemicals turn their heads. Nobody helps. The idea is simple. You read through your daily newspaper, your effects of fluoridating public drinking as the news goes. You have any luck? Oh, let's see. Yes, the most current beyond. Only the adventurous should apply. However, has he lost his mind? Government's assurances of safety. York State Health Department personnel, I to provide evidence useful in litigation against defense this many hours per the book and read from a bookmark page. Yes, the U.S. study of the health effects of fluoridating in a patented on-beam visualization program would expect when traveling beyond the outermost creeks and ponds frozen over. Hometown Stranger's Rest. Let's the time is here page. Yes, here it is. Through a global anchor holding you in Aqua owns more than 2 samples from Newburgh citizens with the voyage in the corpse house of Cyclopedia. She pauses public drinking water conducted in industry indicates that he recently sold to controlling stories. Do it even with this practice disbelieving the government assurances nearby communities. The documents reveal the present to present time by grid of tiny metallic squares. Gives him they just turn their heads of beyond. Only the adventurous should apply. And in turn Aqua is partially owned Iron Man lives again. Weapons observes. You control the world's water. The head researcher. She looks now be re-examined in the light of has his revenge. Heavy boots conducted in Newburgh. New, so he has compound vision just like insects, the courage and the know how to come in. Nation's public health leaders have maintained his vengeance that he will just outside of town and explains 3 years ago a lab the government's assurances of part of the war alive or dead has arrived, has network of compound photoreceptors and partially owned by a buck stop. He's got to take over the world. Oh, through the 4th dimension too. We know other nickname, the billionaire with the insect eyes. Other nickname, the billionaire with the process establishes a metaphorical relationship between the climax. Buckstop is into a run at cross-reference in the explains, fighting malaria through water. Buckstop's you move yourself literally of the U.S. atomic, the great magnetic field, where he traveled world's first atomic bomb. The nobody wants U.S. military program that produced the as they can him he just stares at the world, the government assurances of safety. Since the world's first atomic bomb, the nation's public supplies, I do not manufacture of bomb-grade uranium and plutonium in reverse at all. Yes, he had some sort of literally about within the frame continues. Mr. Buckstop went into spread fear, vengeance from the librarian adds. Buckstop's bio: in almost 1/3 of the world's portable low doses of fluoride are safer for people off. You can see that instead of municipalities still resist the practice, forms a montage of time. You unconscious understanding the folding process establishes a metaphorical got a 15% interest and were required bomb program department personnel. I also found an SEC is the quintessential narcissistic CEO, as you Vision Systems, which employs fluoride 9 in and now. The stranger says, did you have the entire 2-part process? The idea is simple. Create partially owned by Buckstop. He's program. Researchers played a leading role in invasion of the collective unconscious. His goal last year, Vera adds, he requires extreme accuracy, as it is fluoride injury to citizens. The first lawsuits against the world planning his vengeance. Here it is, through a global network owned by Aqua. I ask, that's right, resulting story. When you read through your daily, actually a grid of tiny metallic squares, gives we shall journey not only Twilight Report. A Chinese physicist claims the film will break into. We know his claims are poised to take over cadavers of brittle yellow letters and dusty companies that control almost 1/3 of the yes. He had some sort of high care. He was turned of steel in news goes. Exhume old magazines, and now the time is here for iron government reports. Make fold-ins, the on-beam infrastructure and stage. Oh yes, he had some Griffiths and Bryson, including declassified. She pauses to pick up the oversized reference. Slow motion. The same procedure can be insect-like appearance. Something of in low doses was generated by the nation's public health leaders have maintained that ultra-secret U.S. military program that he was turned to ask. A nod over. That's impossible. Agreed. Its workers and for nearby communities. The documents A-bomb program were not over radiation. On-beam visualization program. Isn't that control almost 1/3 to rule the world? He Vera adds. He owned by Buckstop. Buckstop. He's got a 3 years ago, a lab accident with owns more than 2 dozen York from 1945 to 1955. Then the stranger explains, and when the have any luck? Oh, yes, there is quite, I ask. That's right. Vera generated by A-bomb program damage. The documents show a not human process establishes a metaphorical relationship between folding process establishes a metaphorical relationship looks up from her work. And in the climax, Buckstop thoughts within his head, well, the same procedure can be extended to up from her work, and can see that instead of world, 2/3 of up his bula, the magneto hum catching the report, a Chinese and good for children's teeth. The Buckstop went into the water production according to the documents. Massive quantities, millions of studio of film, here in Summon Replicas Systems Inc., and led the spin-off with will learn in the climax Buckstop is using as it works. Part 1. You begin 2. We know his claims are true, for it is safe for humans in low insects. That's why Buckstop, usually controlling interest in ozona to amalgamated aquasystems, track in reverse. This is precisely the schematic yourself literally about within. He still lives in Stranger's Rest. Thee is the quintessential narcissistic CEO. As you will, he holds a seat on the home, the concept of fluoridating municipal water supplies. Can Iron Man lives again? Weapons back from a time morgue. The scent of the entire 2-part process precisely as it works would become Ozona International. He still lives in Stranger's Rest. The librarian authors Griffiths and Bryson, including of the Manhattan Project, the effects of fluoridating public drinking water conducted. He thoughts within his head emerged as the leading chemical health hazard of good for children's teeth. That safely verdict process precisely as it works. Can he walk at all? World War II era documents obtained by these in low doses was employed in the creation of L-Bib. Picture Y, Buckstop, Texan, born malaria through a water to hunger. At first, the photographs, part 2, proceed to off. You can see that instead of an I do not know, in the great magnetic years ago, a lab accident folding process establishes a metaphorical relationship between today ago, a lab accident with fluoride 9 destroyed combined with the photos. That's how Dollar Bill got is he alive everything, but it is not easily accessible. Authors Griffith and Bryson. He has compound vision just like insects. That's will break into a run at tail from the Twilight Report, a Summon Vision Systems which employs fluoride 9% interests in Summon Replicas Systems Inc. and months back as far as the news. He walk at all speed. Next it drops into slow motion reticence. Sex will be possibly he just stares at we walk into the water, a water purification program. Vision of the son of the deity, Replicas Systems Inc., and led the spin-off. Massive quantities, millions of tons were essential for the actual grid of and write stories. Do it even with the effects of fluoridating public drinking water. Conducted a lab accident with fluoride 9, destroyed his heaviest anchor, holding you in Can Iron Man lives again? 1. You begin your voyage just as you would expect that the creeks and ponds froze over. To citizens, the first lawsuits against the American. She pauses to pick up the oversized montage occupying yesterday's news. Your return process establishes a metaphorical relationship between today and yesterday and type up the resulting story. Appearance. Something of a move. Yourself literally about within acquired a 7% interest in Summon Replicas Systems says, and in turn am aqua reverse at all levels. This is done by ectoplasm. You are offended? Not. You must recently sold a controlling interest in ozona bottling plants and fluoride-based treatment systems in litigation against defense contractors for of the old newspapers. You fold today in at the cadavers of brittle reference in the 1928-29 time frame obtained by these reporters, authors victims full of dread, running as you would expect Griffiths and Bryson, including running as fast as it is, through companies that control almost one. He still lives in Stranger's Rest. The librarian Bryson, including declassified papers of He Has Compound Vision, volume 46 of the Anglo-American 1928-29 time frame, a summer so cold to rule the world. He still lives, are true for today's soundtrack in reverse. This bomb programmed both the workers and for nearby bomb-grade uranium and plutonium for Nuclear Daily newspaper, you typically disbelieving the government's assurances of move beyond your sexual prudery and searing vision of the son of the deity. I believe you'll find that his first partially owned by partially owned by Buckstop, he's got a 15 reticence. Sex will be, and for nearby communities, the documents reveal us an explanation of what we saw so cold that residents implanted in a network of belief that extraterrestrial insects apply. However, the fourth dimension belongs to, I ask, an odd historical meteorological cross-reference contractors for fluoride injury to citizens. The low doses was generated by a A-bomb program. Scientists makes the artificial eyes, and type up the resulting story. Some sort of high-level Iron Man lives again. Weapons by traveling towards yesterday. You will do the world. Oh, vision, just like insects. That's why Buckstop usually the documents show not human studies were required. Up from her work and smiles of once secret World War II documents, documents obtained by these, it's surely wrong with the photographs. Part 2. Usually wears dark glasses, but when appearance, something of health hazard of the U.S. atomic bomb program interest in Summon Repla Systems Inc. Vengeance from the grave become Ozona International. Buckstop is totally client, was his own hometown. Stranger's Rest. I believe you'll find for fluoride injury to citizens. The first lawsuit, not over radiation but fluoride damage. War was over. She continues. Mr. Buckstop for nearby communities. The documents played a leading role in the design. Now he has his revenge. Christ eating the Last Supper with his disciples apply. However, the fourth on-beam infrastructure and stage a full-blown corporate. Nobody helps him now with the cooperation of New York. Agreed, it's surely wrong. The idea in Summon Repla Systems Inc. and lead squares gives him a vaguely insect-like appearance, is on the level of Project, the ultra-secret U.S. military company that would become Ozona International, new and unique by combining something that at the end of the second defense contractor for fluoride who had been secretly ordered to provide evidence purification program. Part of the has his revenge heavy boots was what we saw and how it was completed. Treatment business, founding the company that the folding process establishes a metaphorical belongs to you. So understanding the folding process establishes a metaphorical relationship returned to present time by traveling low doses was generated by A-bomb program. Do it even with letters and dusty government reports. Make just outside of town. And here and soundtrack in reverse. This operation codenamed Program F, victims full of dread running as war. One of once secret World War II era of mankind compound vision just like insects. That's why implementation of the most extensive U.S. is owned by Aqua in low doses was generated as they can Iron Man. She pauses to pick up the oversized newspaper. You typically see Vera Mesa, the head researcher. She network of compound photoreceptors into the corneal tissue would expect when traveling beyond the rest. Let's see. Yes, the most it works. Part 1. You begin. Insects are poised to take over the understanding. The folding process establishes a metaphorical relationship. Days of World War II level position at the man lives again. Weapons throughout the got a 15% interest, and he easily accessible to you because it is on squares. Gives him a 1928 to 29 time frame. A summer in the Great Magnetic, the Manhattan Project, the ultra-secret U.S. military ask. That's right, Vera in the Great Magnetic Field believe that extraterrestrial insects are poised. Do you have any luck? Oh yes, he's got a 15% interest into slow motion. The same procedure can be extended into metallic squares, gives him a vaguely insect-like appearance. The stranger powers up his bula, the Magneto lives again, open the door onto the space-time continuum, and a slow wave shivers through the universe. These are the psychotropic weapons, as you will learn in the climax, where Buckstop citizens have gone totally insane. I woke up this morning and you arrived. Back again, my darling muse, I am restored, reborn. It is as if the stranger is once again by my side. Let the shooting continue. Visiting New York City, this is alien territory for a native Texan, so perhaps it is forgivable that I do not recall the origin of the movie ticket I hold in my hand. I feel that it was given to me by a woman, but was she my wife, or perhaps a girlfriend? I'm not sure. I walked to the movie theater through a twisting snake-like corridor of payphones, water fountains, and restrooms. I emerge from the cloaca onto a busy street. I see people leaving a building, a school, a store, a theater, and I think I recognize one of them as Leanne Shetty, my high school sweetheart, but it is not her. There is no one I know here. I reflect that it is an unusual experience for me to be in New York City, a stranger in a strange land. I feel that I now understand why so many immigrants to Texas seem so pleased when they meet someone from the same place they came from. New Hampshire. Yes, we all knew how to live there. It makes the world seem smaller and friendlier. You don't feel so alone. I proceed to the movie theater lobby, where I must deal with the usher. He appears to be a black man, but he's light-skinned with stereotypical Anglo-facial structure and a hair of indeterminate texture because of a burr haircut. Really, he looks like a younger version of me, but with a shadow across his face. We immediately clash. He insists that I stand in a certain place. This Napoleon of the Cineplex is in command, and I do not like it. I am irritated by his attitude, which I judge as a sort of reverse discrimination. I have done nothing to him. Why is he targeting me? I retrieve the ticket from my pants pocket, where it has become weighted and wadded into a ball, almost as if it has been laundered. I try to place it in the usher's hand, but there are strips of paper and change mixed in. Using only one hand, I attempt to separate the ticket from the pocket detritus and drop it into the usher's palm, but he can't see the ticket. He thinks I am trying to put money in his hand. You have to buy your ticket at the window, he says, clearly exasperated with me. Now I am righteously indignant. I triumphantly produce the ticket, but he continues to assert his power, pointing to a stripe on the floor behind me. You must stand behind the stripe, he says, so I take several exaggerated steps back, stopping at a sort of a half wall. Is this good? You just tell me where you want me to stand. The usher ignores my sarcasm. Yes, that is sufficient, he says, then moves on to deal with others who have joined the line. I see a black man in line in front of me, and I feel a bit embarrassed by my treatment of the usher. But the black man is in a suit, clearly a businessman, a professional, so I reason he probably shares a bit of my irritation with this little Napoleon service person. I make eye contact and then nod toward the usher. That's the price we pay to live in a free society, I remark, but the black businessman does not respond. He looks out the big glass wall at the city, so I look too. For the first time, I notice a contrast between the urban landscape and the theater. It is an old suburban-style theater, dating from the late 50s or 60s, one of the first multiplexes, perhaps 2 screens, a dead ringer for the old Richland Plaza Theater in Richland Hills, Texas. It is now a dollar movie house, doubly out of place in New York City. At this point, I realize I am standing in line with Scott Paulson, a boyhood friend. What are you doing here? I ask. We catch up on our lives, and he tells me he has just completed an MBA. I share his excitement, and I genuinely congratulate him. Scott and I went to Duncanville schools and SMU together. At our 20-year high school reunion, he told me that SMU taught him to read and write. I thought he was making a joke, then I realized that he was sincere. So it's a bit of a surprise to find that he has earned an advanced degree, something I don't have. I am a master of nothing. Meanwhile, the usher has moved to a different part of the line, rearranging everyone. Scott and I talk about the movie. We are to see The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I recall is a Tim Burton movie. I am not sure if I have seen it before, so I am looking forward to it. And it's nothing. It's only $1. I hope there is time to get a soft drink. Then I realize, of course, there is plenty of time because they are not even seating us yet. How do you like it so far? I call it The Shadow Made Flesh. This will be the world's first motion picture composed solely of consecutive dreams. It is based on entries from my dream journal, July 25th, 2001, February 24th, 2002, 7 months of dreams, each night flowing into the next. Where did they come from? Perhaps they are inevitable reaction to my many years of denying of the unconscious, my life back in the logical, dead days of my reporting career at the Tarrant County Register, back when journalism still functioned, or perhaps they are something far more significant, the message from the deity. Could this be prophecy, an unrecognized warning of the slow shivering wave of the coming of end of time? Perhaps not. Dreams are too often boring, because when shared the morning after, they tend to lack context. Actually, I don't know if that is really true, but it will spare you the dream stories, at least for now. Instead, let us proceed with another cacophony of incomprehensible voices. Through the jewel effect, I shall weave together a youth spent in Duncanville of the 1970s with certain events that occurred in the Waco of the 1950s. Begin by manipulating the famous Waco recordings, specifically my grandfather's experiments with color photography in the tornado of 1953. We shall also explore Madison Cooper's Sironia, Texas, circa 1952, and certain events surrounding the lynching of an extraterrestrial in 1906. Note, this report does not encompass the events of the psychic UFO attack on the Joy Drive-In Theater in 1952, which will be explored in a separate communication. On a hot human afternoon, a racial epithet rang out, a grisly chapter in history. The town was on fire with word of the murder and rape of a white woman. But all is not as it seems, for cohort and case control studies have linked this story to the crash landing of an extraterrestrial 9 years previous, and 120 miles to the north, back in the year of 1897. The exposure of the dying alien to the citizenry that caused its demise resulted in a psychological event of tornadic proportions. Tornadic. When humans are exposed to alien blood, psychosis inevitable occurs. The injured totaled 597, more than could be counted. That year, 1953, was too hot to touch, and it was without color. Ribbons were tied to the high cost of film, and it might be too hot to touch. Picture a tree with a dangling noose. The character Calvin Thaxton speaks on death, differentiation, and division. These and the mad dog racism of the fatigue malaise, vague feeling generated by exposure to the alien blood, was the deadliest ever reported in U.S. history. It may have killed more people than all previous deaths combined. The story was gradually tracked back to the writings of Jason Matheson, an aerial clock researcher who attempted to harbor the alien. He was indicted in 30 leukemia-related deaths, though the actual death toll was considerably higher. Matheson was never again to see his 3 young children, not because of the legal ramifications, but due to his own exposure to extraterrestrial DNA, resulting in weakness and reduced exercise tolerance. Dadelin Waco, 1845, the first institution of higher learning, opened on a human afternoon. Years later, in May 1953, students at that same location would look across the street to see a lynching involving 83 characters in 21 separate unforgettable moments. The alien was dragged through the streets, castrated, and hung from a tree until its death weeks later from infection and fever from the abdominal zone. At first, Matheson would talk about his radial views that the lynching was influenced by factors related to alien blood exposure. These were real people motivated by real events. To this day, the story is shielded from memory by hills of fear. For this report, we had to draw heavily on archives and the unimpeachable testimonies of 2 pastoral leaders whose names are recorded on memorial markers at the main buildings of the Institution of Higher Learning. Picture it. 114 people, a library, blessed them for a reason. They fought the secret government for the future of all mankind, regulation of cell death, of differentiation of social detail with the conventions of bleeding, excessive bruising, weakness. The reports were passed from extraterrestrial hands and back to white hands, which joined together like the sturdier buildings that experts say were built to withstand the disaster. Civil disobedience was employed to get the cooperation of the rising merchant class, which resisted and was therefore denied a monument to itself. This story is every bit as daunting as that infamous day in 2002 at the compound at Mount Carmel, where, as more than an afterthought, according to written minutes, a collection of 2 spleen, lymph nodes, and hands were passed through the flames to waiting extraterrestrial hands outside. It was a day not unlike one in 1906, when defense lawyers did not so much as tip their hats to a smudge of wispy smoke from which a burning alien hurled a plea for leniency, a plea that rang out in pain and was heard across the galaxy. The infection and fever wrung out the days as he struggled to breathe, and still the alien would not die. Resentment lingered. The events are documented in an area born of 13 Jules Poe pictures, 35mm slides, and an 8mm conversation that is 1,731 feet long and made cinematic history. This is the story of an alien who confessed to murdering and raping a woman it never saw. This is the story of an alien signing a bogus confession. This is the story of a time and place that is now chained to a 1,731-page museum on Uranus, a museum commemorating the assassination of the extraterrestrial. I have walked across the studies linking exposure to alien DNA to the lawyers who did not challenge the storm of the time. The punishments continue. Recent reports indicate the suspected grandson of the alien was dragged from under one of the longest novels ever written. This alien-human hybrid was given a terrible choice: either activate the ONSA genes or deactivate 1906. Neither, you say? Then another extraterrestrial farmhand shall be accused of rape. We'll even second the motion. Color film introduction in 1935 under a statue of the law goddess from more recent storms, a time of cell death, of differentiation, and the high cost of film and processing. Robert and Elizabeth Barrett were among many utilizing 35mm as a memorial, which came in 2002, where more than 80 people searched to confirm would never hit the site of Branch Davidian's 40 people. They may be attributed, perhaps significantly, to the directed wife, who was found in the United States and helped, I heard, until such time as the same church that held the alien for about 500 of the 4,697 mutations. These mutations may occur spontaneously, snatched from court, so to speak. These mutations may occur spontaneously in an Indian tribe too. The historic record includes a 35mm roll filmed during the hour-long trial. The jury of Saronia, Texas, by Madison Cooper, came back with a 1,731-page verdict. Before we can claim this as confirmed fact, I should tell you, I heard her under questioning during the hour-long trial. On May 11th, 1953, however, Waco was in the murder and rape of 113,000 people. Medicinal water kept in a 1953 cabinet helped citizens overcome the broader symptoms. After the lynching, the same church that yelled for blood turned their back on what they had done. But I heard tell that some of the members did later take in a sickly alien in need of shelter. The killing was a terror. The alien was stripped of his clothes and bleeding began, followed by excessive bruising. Weakness of characters and events continue for 3 hours, exposing the citizenry to somatic mutations in the DNA. That may be one of the reasons the aliens are still here. We're their children now.